starting the lecture of rainwater resources with section B. Section B of 2018 session. Is it so?
Yes, sir.
Very good. 2018 section B. How are you people? Fine?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Thus. So at the moment 28 students have already joined. I have started the recording of the lecture also, and I am opening the slides. I think we have gone through the hydrological cycle. We have gone through water budget equations also, and you were assigned, you were given an assignment. Simple assignment was there, which you have already solved hopefully and submitted. If you have any question, you can ask me now. And we continue with our lecture. अगर किसी के कोई सवाल हैं तो you are welcome to ask. कोई comments हैं, कोई suggestions हैं. So I am sharing my screen, and hopefully this will be
बाकी अक्सरियत है.
Okay, the lab attendant was there. I want to show you some meteorological instruments to measure temperature, pressure, and these things. I was with him. Okay. So who will tell me what is the catchment area? So I'm getting message of bad network quality, so maybe you will be experiencing some delays in the voice, but being recorded also. So hopefully no problem. Who will tell me what is the watershed? कौन बताएगा?
Sir, the area from which rainfall flows into a river, lake, etc.
The
is
area
called
from
catchment
which
area. Rainfall flows into river, lake, or reservoir is called catchment or basin area.
Okay, river flows from or to a river. Water flows, rainfall flows from the area from where the rainfall flows to a river or reservoir. That is what you have said. The area from which rainfall flows to a river or reservoir.
Yes,
These are
into a river. Yes.
यही है ना words?
सर ये सिर्फ रेनफॉल के या किसी और किस्म के वाटर के लिए भी हो सकता है?
बिल्कुल
Contributing water.
उसके साथ मेरा भी यही इसमें मसला था. If catchment is only with respect to rainfall, any water in that area that will flow towards the outlet for which we are defining a catchment. So catchment must be defined with respect to a certain outlet or a point. That can be any location on a river, that can be a reservoir point, that can be end point of the river near the sea, which is called as mouth of the river. So at any outlet, all the area which is contributing water, may it be rainfall, may it be snowfall, may it be groundwater. So all that area, may it be water from springs. So all the area which is contributing water at an outlet is called. An outlet can be simply a section, simply a location on the river, or a reservoir point, or a future reservoir point, or a point at the end of the river call as mouth of the river. So please make it sure and see the and what demarcate the boundary of the catchment. उस लाइन को हम क्या कहते हैं जो catchment की boundary बन जाती है? what
Watershed.
उसको हम watershed line कहेंगे. Watershed is again area. Watershed is area. Watershed line is the boundary. In survey we call this line as a ridge line. इसको हमने survey में ridge line बोला था, यहाँ हम watershed line बोलेंगे. So that demarcate the boundary of the catchment. For an hydrologist, actually this is the area of interest for a certain point where he want to know the flows. Wherever he want to know the flows, so then he will try to find the catchment area, then characteristics of that catchment area. So then we have gone through the calculation of the amount of water coming to the area of our concern, and how to budget the water, how to calculate the water quantities in different parts of hydrological cycle in that area, and we call this as a hydrological budget or water budget equations, which is simply statement of our mathematical expression of conservation of mass, law of conservation of mass, and in this case mass is water. So whatever is the inflow, whatever is the outflow from that area, from the area of our interest or our catchment, whatever it is. So whatever is inflow minus whatever is the water going out of that in a certain time period, the difference should be change of storages within that area. Storages can be storage of the surface, storage can be storage in the ground, storage in the soil, storage in the depressions, storage in the atmosphere. So storages can be of different kind. Mostly we are dealing with the surface storages. We are assuming groundwater storage is constant over a year time period, not between few months. Within the few months, usually the groundwater table rises after monsoon due to the rainfall. After monsoon, the groundwater table rises, and after few months it declines down. So if we are comparing within shorter time period, for example 6 months, then we should take the fluctuation of the groundwater and we should calculate how much is the storage change. And over the year, if groundwater table is not declining every year, and there is a balance between inflow and outflow for the groundwater, then we can assume that groundwater storage is not changing. Surface water are similarly, if the reservoirs empty out after a year and then fill back. For example, Tarbela reservoir, usually what we do is we fill it during the monsoon period, and then we use that water during the dry period, and before the next monsoon season, again it is at the empty lowest water level which we have reserved for it. So over the year, this cyclic procedure go on. So if I compare 1 month of the Bela reservoir to the same month in the next year, more or less reservoir will be at the same levels. So we can say the storages at the surfaces are also not changing in this case, in this particular case. So in this way, you can see what is the time span for which we are comparing. If it is month, 1st of January to the 31st of the January, of course, reservoir will change, and we cannot say there is constant storage. So that storage we should calculate and take into account. So these water budget equation tell us how much, and the data input for all this water budget equation comes from the observations. The precipitation data comes from rainfall observations. Groundwater recharge or groundwater inflow and outflow comes from the infiltration experiments, how much water infiltrate. So we have an instrument, we call it infiltrometer. It is a steel ring. We fill it with water and we measure what is the water level in it. And again, after some time, we see how much is water depleted, or we refill it and we measure how much we need water to refill it. So that tells us how much is the infiltration in that soil. Different soil have different infiltration rates, so we use infiltrometer. So soil type, we have carried out experiment for different kind of soil types. So soil type gives us some idea of how much will be the infiltration. So if we know the soil type, if we know the amount of water available, we can estimate infiltration into the ground. So this G1 and G2 is actually not infiltration. This is a contribution from to the groundwater from the surrounding area and contribution uh, of this groundwater to the surrounding area. This RG was contribution from the groundwater in the form of the springs. This I was the infiltration. This T was transpiration and evaporation. Measurement of evaporation and transpiration uh, cannot be directly done, but we can estimate the evaporation and transpiration. Evaporation can be estimated from, for example, pan evaporation. We install a pan in the area. It is a steel pan, 1 meter, 1.2 meter diameter, and we fill it with water, and every day we measure the change of water in that pan. The change of water is said to be pan evaporation. So that pan evaporation is then related to how much can be the evaporation from a soil surface. We multiply that pan evaporation with a coefficient. How much will be the transpiration from a crop area? So we multiply it with another factor. So we have calculated factors, which we call as the crop factor, to calculate the evapotranspiration from a crop or evaporation from a reservoir body. We multiply the pan with the pan coefficient, and we get the potential uh, evaporation from a reservoir surface. So there are methods available to estimate evaporation, transpiration, groundwater movement. Groundwater movement is difficult to estimate, but if we have the area of the vertical area from where the groundwater is moving in, if we have the permeability K value, so and then we can estimate how much will be the velocity or the discharge of the groundwater flow using Darcy equation. We call it as a Darcy equation, which relates that velocity of flow in a porous media is function of the head causing that flow. Like in pipes also, it is the head or pressure head causing flow. So in soil, we say the gradient of the pressure, so or the slope of the pressure difference will help us find the velocity in a porous media. So that can also be calculated. We need the soil properties for its calculation. Rainfall, I have already told you. So these data we can get from the field observations, our estimation, and then we can use this water budget equation, and we see if our estimation and our measurements are matching with each other. If the left hand side is equal to the change of storages, if not, then we go into further details to improve it. And sometimes these equations are used to estimate one unknown if all the other parameters are known. For example, if evapotranspiration is difficult to measure, we can calculate evapotranspiration by knowing other parameters like precipitation, river inflow, river outflow, and change of storage of that area. Similar examples you have done in the assignment, and we have done it over here. So any question about water budget, you can ask it now.
सर
जी
सर ये जो हमारी evaporation from the ground है EG सर वो किस तरह होगी पहले वो वाटर सरफेस पे आएगा तो उधर से evaporate होगा या फिर उसका क्या फिनोमिना होगा
water will come to the top surface of the soil. If we have accounted the soil moisture in our calculation, अगर हमने soil moisture को calculate किया है, for example, moisture content of the soil is, let us say, is 10%, 20%. Today is 20%, tomorrow is 10%, let us say. So that difference will tell me how much is the water lost. So from the top surface, it will be losing through evaporation. From the underneath surface, then through capillary action, the top surface get water. So upper few centimeter soil do lose water through evaporation, not all the soil surface. तो ये मॉइस्चर कंटेंट का डिफरेंस जो है सॉइल का, आज के कल का, कल से परसों का, that moisture content difference can be converted into how much water depth is we are losing.
तो सर ये जो हमारी फिर एवेपोरेशन ईएस है जो सरफेस वाली, ये फिर ओपन चैनल्स वगैरह से जो हो रही है वो है, और ये जो ग्राउंड या हमारी साइल से मॉइस्चर रिमूव हो रहा है वो?
बिल्कुल ऐसे ही है। रेजरवायर से जो एवेपोरेशन हो रही है वो ओपन सरफेस की एवेपोरेशन है। इफ वाटर इज स्टैंडिंग इन अ फील्ड, पानी खड़ा हुआ है, सॉइल मॉइस्चर नहीं है, इट इज पॉन्डेड ऑन द फील्ड, वो सरफेस एवेपोरेशन है। इसी तरह जो है आपका इंटरसेप्ट हुआ है पानी ऑन द लीव्स, वो वापस चला गया, वो एवेपोरेशन है। सम वाटर इवन, चलें उसको छोड़ देते हैं। तो नॉर्मली यही सरफेस वाटर from the reservoir, from the rivers, from the canals and ponded water on the field. So ये सारा surface evaporation है।
Okay sir.
Soil moisture की जो change है, that will tell me how much is the soil evaporation from the soil or ground. Okay, so after this we have to tell you water resources of Pakistan and how much are the demands of different sectors of Pakistan. More detail, this topic we will be covering in irrigation subject also, but brief introduction of this water resources. For any country, what constitute a water resource? कोई भी इलाका हो, कोई भी country हो, what do you think? जब हम कहते हैं ना water resource, तो उसमें क्या कुछ शामिल होता है? Do you have any idea about it? उसको क्या क्या चीजें मैं count कर लूँ तो that is water resource. हाँ जी, अगर आपको पानी मिल रहा है, आपके फील्ड्स को, आपके इलाके को, आपके घरों में पानी आ रहा है, तो कौन सा वाटर रिसोर्स अवेलेबल है विच इज सर्विंग दिस?
रिवर्स सर, रेन वाटर, रिवर्स, ग्लेशियर्स,
दो चीजें हो गई, तीसरा ग्लेशियर हो गया, ट्रू,
ग्राउंड वाटर,
चार, ठीक हो गया। तो यही तीन चीजें हम कहते हैं, एक को कहते हैं हम सरफेस वाटर, एक को हम कहते हैं ग्राउंड वाटर, और एक को हम कहते हैं डायरेक्ट प्रेसिपिटेशन ऑन दैट एरिया। तो दीज आर द थ्री मेजर सोर्सेज, एंड देन फ्लो जनरेटेड फ्रॉम आउटसाइड आवर एरिया, जो कि रिवर के जरिए से फ्लो आ रहा होता है, दैट इज एक्चुअली फ्लो जनरेटेड थ्रू प्रेसिपिटेशन और ग्लेशियर आउटसाइड आवर एरिया, outside our geographical boundaries. So inflows from the rivers, similarly groundwater inflows, ये सारी चीजें जो है, या ground water storage जो है, ये हमारे water resources हैं, but these are the fresh water resources. एक और हमारा water resource है जिसको हम कहते हैं कि saline water resource, वो ocean का पानी है. If a country has boundary with the ocean, they own that water also. So there is a certain boundary from the land area of that place which is considered as area reserved for a country, and then international water starts. So we have a sufficient amount of water resources in ocean also, लेकिन हम उसे fresh water resource में consider नहीं करते. When we talk about the water resources which we, with respect to hydrology, which we want to harness, which we want to use for economical purpose, economical purpose से मुराद है for agriculture, for urban supply, for industrial purpose. So then these are the fresh water resources: groundwater, precipitation on the land, and third is the river flows. So average in Pakistan, because Pakistan can be divided into number of basins. अगर पाकिस्तान की आप geographical boundary को देखें तो इसके अंदर वन बिग रिवर बेसन है जिसको हम कहते हैं इंडस बेसन। उसके अलावा छोटे छोटे रिवर बेसन है, दोज आर इन बलोचिस्तान, मसलन मकरान रिवर बेसन है। इसी तरह बहुत न्यूमरस स्मॉल बेसन है जिनको हम कोस्टल बेसन कह सकते हैं। एक छोटा सा नाला है कोस्ट पे ग्वादर के साथ, फलाना क्रीक के साथ, वो समंदर में मिल जाता है। So that is not much, that is not covering much area, that is not serving much population. But think in your mind that the biggest basin in Pakistan is the Indus Basin, and the catchment of its tributaries all come together in Indus Basin. And a part of Pakistan lies outside Indus Basin, in which the largest one can be called as the Makran Basin, and there are basins near Quetta also, and there are some small basins which don't join to the ocean out. बेसन ऐसा भी हो सकता है जो ओशन तक जाए ही ना, वो लैंड एरिया के अंदर ही किसी लेक में या किसी रेजरवायर में या किसी डेजर्ट में वैनिश हो जाता है। तो ये हर्रात और कोयटा और बलूचिस्तान के इलाके की तरफ कुछ दरिया ऐसे हैं जो समंदर तक पहुंचते ही नहीं है। वो पहाड़ी इलाके से उतरे, दरमियान में जो डिप्रेस्ड एरिया है वहाँ पे एक लेक बना दी और वहीं पे ख़त्म हो गए। तो those few basins are also there, but most of the land is covered with the Indus Basin. So अगर जब आप पाकिस्तान के वाटर रिसोर्सेज को के बजट्स देखेंगे, वाटर रिसोर्सेज की क्वांटिफिकेशन देखेंगे, तो bulk of the study only state the water available in the Indus Basin rivers. So जो surface water है और इसमें जो river का flows है, people have quantified it by measuring the discharge of these rivers at the outermost station when these river joins the plain area. ये रिवर हिली एरिया से चल के आ रहे हैं, आउटसाइड पाकिस्तान से आ रहे हैं, फ्लोज कर रहे हैं, बट व्हेन दे एंटर इन द प्लेन एरिया लेट अस से पंजाब, देन द मेजरिंग स्टेशन जो इन रिवर्स के ऊपर है उनको हम कहते हैं दीज आर रिम स्टेशन। इनके लिए खास वर्ड यूज होता है रिम स्टेशन। उन रिम स्टेशंस के ऊपर लोगों ने कंटिन्यूसली वी आर मेजरिंग इट, वापडा उसको मेजर कर रहा है, and irrigation department at some places they are measuring, they have staff to measure it. So through that data, what we have got the information that overall the inflow at these rim stations is about 148.8 or about 150 हम कह सकते हैं। Previously it used to be said as 145 million acre feet. Keep in mind the units. Million acre feet, 148, 149 million acre foot flows, acre feet. I think I told you these units. These are the units of volume of water. So much water is on average coming to the river of the Indus Basin at the rim station. ये चीजें बताना क्यों जरूरी है at the rim station? Because river flow changes from location to location. As we go higher in the rivers, flow will reduce. As we go downstream on the river, more area is contributing, so flow will be enhancing if water is not being diverted. अगर पानी river में से हम निकाल नहीं रहे, तो as we go along the river downstream side, catchment area is more, so river volume or river flow will be more. तो ये इसलिए इसके लोकेशन का बताना जरूरी है कि at the rim stations, flow of the water is so much. You can describe this flow in two ways. One, volume in a year, like it is stated over here, 148.8 million acre feet per year on average, and you can specify it in Q6 also. अगर इसी को आप seconds पे divide कर दें, तो you will be getting the value in volume per second. So you can convert it into cubic feet per second. Anybody remember acre को अगर हमने फीट के यूनिट में कन्वर्ट करना हो तो क्या कन्वर्जन होगी? एकड़ इनटू
सर 1 acre is equal to 43,560 feet square feet.
तो यानी एकड़ is the area units and we can convert it into feet square, and he is right, 43560 square feet is equal to 1 acre. So we can convert this acre feet and million acre feet into a million square feet, and then we can convert it into acre feet, we can convert it into cubic feet, because acre is one part and then there is a feet also. So we have to multiply 148.8 with 43560. We will be getting the answer into million cubic feet. When we divide it with the time in a year, in seconds, we can get average flow or discharge of these rivers. So it is further divided into two seasons in Pakistan. We call one season as Kharif and one season as Rabi. So Kharif season starts from April and goes up to September, both including. 1st April से 30 सितंबर तक के जो 6 महीने हैं, that is called as Kharif, and this is the rainy season. It includes the rainy season, monsoon season, while the Rabi is season which starts from 1st of October to 31st of the March. So that is the Rabi season. These are the, with respect to the agriculture, the crop grown over here. Majority of the people grow two crops. One is called as the Rabi crop, one is called as the Kharif crop. And before the invent of these canal system over here, usually people used to grow one crop, and that was after the monsoon season. So Rabi season, because it did not have the much water through precipitation, and rivers were also most of the time very low levels and very low discharges. So only one crop was possible in most of the area. But now, because of the storages reservoir and because of the canals from the rivers, we are able, and because of the groundwater extraction, we are able to have two crops, and at some places three crops in a certain area. So that is the surface water flow in the plain area of the Indus Basin. That this figure you will hear quite often. You can also go into further details which river is contributing much in this Indus Basin. So Indus is the largest river. When we say Indus rivers, then it is including Indus River Basin. When we say, it includes Ravi, Satluj, and everything. When we say Indus River, so that is only the one river which is flowing from Tarbela to downstream to Kalabagh to Tonsa to Sindh area. So that is the main Indus River. So, but Indus Basin includes the area which is contributing water to Jhelum River, Chenab River, Ravi, Satluj, Beas rivers, all these rivers. So that is basin. So largest contributor to outflow is Indus River itself, which contributes about 90 million acre feet out of 150 or 148. So Jhelum contributes about 23 million acre feet, and Chenab contributes 27 million acre feet, and to Ravi and Satluj after the Indus Water Treaty. After the treaty, we are getting much less water from the Ravi and Satluj. That is, average is 8 million acre feet, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 million acre feet we get. Average is 8 million acre feet. So this is the water budget from the surface. We people have categorized this water, where this water is going or flowing in Pakistan. Out of that, the water of 145 or 148 million acre feet, 100 million acre feet, about 101 to 103 million acre feet, we divert to the canals in the Indus Basin. That is our capacity of diversion. That is not the water. The canals which are constructed, they can only take up to this much water. Within the river system, we lose some water through seepage and through evaporation. So that is estimated at about 10 million acre feet. So the rest 101, about 100 this and 10 this, 120, the rest 25 up to 30 million acre feet, that goes to the sea. So if we get so much inflow at the Indus Basin Rim Station, and so much water we have diverted, so much we have estimated that it is going as a seepage and the evaporation losses, then rest would be going to the sea, 30 million acre feet. This is a figure which you will be listening many times. We are losing so much water to the sea, and we are saying we are water scarce country, we are water deficit country. Why not we should store this water also? So our efforts are now that out of this 30 million acre feet, we should store some water in the reservoir so that we can use that for further economical development of the area. So that we are trying to harness this, but not all of this. Some of this must be released downstream to the sea, because habitat over there, the fish are the living beings which are living in the water of the coastal area. They need a good combination of the fresh water and the saline water. They are living over there because of the availability of a certain kind of water that is not as saline as the ocean water, and that is not as fresh as the river water. So a special kind of environment has been created in the coastal area or delta area in which shrimp farming and mangroves forest are flourishing over there. So they need a certain amount of fresh water every year. So keeping that water available to the ecological purpose for that area, which is estimated as 10 million acre feet, rest it is considered by the expert that the rest can be stored in the reservoirs, newly constructed reservoirs, and we can use it for agriculture, drinking water, and industrial purpose. Out of the 100 million acre feet which is diverted to the canal, it is a sorry figure that 40 million acre feet we lose through seepage losses because our canal irrigation system is most of it is unlined. So unlined system, and we have the porous soil, so water seep down into soil before reaching to the place where we want to put it into the crop field. So only about 60% of that we get at the crop field, and 40% we lose. So this is another opportunity for improvement. 40 million acre feet conveyance losses can be reduced by lining the canals so that we can use it for irrigation of more area, and we can enhance our agriculture output. So this is a brief, a very simple water budget for Indus Basin river system in Pakistan. इतना इन्फ्लो आ रहा है, इतना हम समंदर को दे रहे हैं, इतना डाइवर्ट कर रहे हैं, डाइवर्जन में से इतना लॉसेस हो रहे हैं, और the water which we lose to the conveyance system seepage, और ये जो water lose कर रहे हैं, some part of it we get out through the groundwater extraction. अब मैं उस तरफ जा रहा हूँ. ग्राउंड वाटर का कितना, we have a huge storage of the groundwater. Its total quantity cannot be estimated because its bottom we don't know. Top we know, groundwater surface, but bottom where how much it is extended. It is expected that there is about 400-500 feet, बल्कि इससे भी ज़्यादा. We have alluvial layer of soil. So that alluvial layer of soil, if it is usually porous and it contains water inside it. So we have a huge depth of water, groundwater available under this area, especially in Punjab and Sindh area. And that water resources we are using for a few decades. जब से ये tubewell technology has developed and we have small engines available with us to extract water to run the pump of the tubewell. So we are extracting that water, and it is estimated that पूरे पाकिस्तान में about 1.2 million, 12 lakh के करीब tubewells are working. Out of that, 9 lakh, about 10 lakh are in Punjab only, and we are extracting about 40 million acre feet of water from the ground and serving it to the for the purpose of agriculture, mainly for agriculture and for drinking purpose in the urban area. So ये दो sources हैं. वो जो glacier की बात की थी, glacier flow contributes to this 145 million acre feet. So glaciers are a resource for us, but when we estimate the water quantity, we estimate at the rim stations. So rim stations are below the glaciated area, so that water is accounted for in this 145 million acre feet. Similar water budget equation have been made. This I have taken, I think, from the WAPDA, some of the WAPDA report. This one is recently published by a World Bank report. They call it, क्या कहते हैं, इसका title क्या था? Pakistan getting more from water. So they have also tried to categorize the budget or describe the budget of water or utilization of the water in Pakistan and how much is the water flow. This is not only limited to Indus Basin. It covers all Pakistan. So when they say this much water is available, so they are not only constrained to Indus Basin. This is Indus, Kabul. So this is Indus Basin flows. These are the eastern river flows, and here are the flows generated from within Pakistan. So it covers Pakistan instead of the only Indus Basin. So it is more comprehensive and more recent. This was only published in 2019. So they have categorized, but their units are different from the units which we have read previously, million acre feet. This is in million cubic meter. The units over here are billion cubic meter, BCM, billion cubic meter, and you know billion is 10 raised to the power 9. So they are estimating that about 170 plus 3, 173 billion cubic meter is coming from the rivers. So if I convert it, it is 137 million acre feet. And they are saying that some of the water is generated within Pakistan, that is 32. So 170 plus 32, 30 को मैं ऐड करूँ तो 24 ये हो गया. तो they are saying that about 140 or 160. They are estimating 160 million acre feet is the water available in Pakistan coming to the Pakistani area. How much is diverted to the canals? How much goes to seepage? How much going back to the ocean? So that is mentioned over here. So that you can see, and that also help us know how much water we are losing in seepage, how much water we are losing in evaporation. And this will give you an overall idea of water availability in different parts of Indus Basin and Pakistan. This water is divided between the federating unit of Pakistan through an agreement which we call as Water Apportionment Accord. When we say water availability in Pakistan, then we should also know how it is being divided. So in 1991, we have agreed upon a way of distributing available water of Indus River Basin, Indus Basin, and it was decided that whatever are the previous 5 years, at that time in 91, they took average flows of the last 5 years, average water diversions to the last 5 years. So those were considered as their right for the future. So they say now these are your entitlement. You can get, if average flows is coming, you can get this much of water. So what was the finalized that Punjab will get on average 55.9 or 56 million acre feet, and Sindh will get about 49 or 48.7 million acre feet in a year. NWFP will get about 5.8 million acre feet from below the rim station, and 3 million acre feet they will be getting from above the rim station, because KPK के कुछ कैनाल जो हैं वो जो हमारे जिनको हम rim station कहते हैं उनसे upstream पे हैं. Rim station on Indus usually is called as the Kalabagh. Rim station on Indus is the Kalabagh Barrage or Jinnah Barrage. A rim station on Jhelum is called Mangla. Mangla station is called as the rim station. Rim station on the Chenab is Marala. Rim station on Ravi is, sometimes we call it as Ravi Siphon, or even above that one there is a bridge, Jassar Bridge, close to the border from where the Ravi enters into Pakistan. So Jassar Bridge is called as a rim station on Ravi. And then rim station on the Satluj River is, there is a bridge, they call it Killa Ganda Singh. Either that one is called as rim station or just the structure downstream, that is Islam Barrage, I think. It is Islam or Sidnai, Suleiman.
Yes, sir, Head Islam.
हेड इस्लाम नीचे है मेरे ख्याल में, ऊपर सुलेमान की है, तो
हेड सुलेमान की,
हेड सुलेमान की इस
हेड सुलेमान के ऊपर है.
हाँ जी, हेड सुलेमान की
Yes, sir.
station. So above head Suleiman ki, we have a hydrological station. We call it Killa Ganda Singh hydrological station, where they measure the discharge. If that discharge is not measured over there, then Suleiman ki barrage is considered as a rim station. So KPK, most of the area of the KPK is above the Jinnah barrage or Kalabagh barrage on Indus River. So they have some canals which are getting water above the rim station. So they have estimated that they are getting 3 million acre feet from above the rim station, and below the rim station they were given entitlement of about 6 million acre feet for KPK area. Balochistan, much of the Balochistan is out of the catchment of the Indus Basin. So a small part of the Balochistan, which is on the right bank of the Indus River, close to Sindh province, so that can be irrigated with the Indus Basin water. So they were given a small quantity, which depending upon agriculture possible in that area, that is 4 million acre feet. So that was the apportionment accord, which tells how much water should be diverted to canals of which province. So at the moment, water is distributing based upon this accord. So this was signed in 1991, and this is famous accord. So what are the user of the water in an area? अच्छा ये दो चीजें बता दी मैंने, surface water बता दिया. You should be knowing in the water resources how much is the rainfall. Although जब हम rainfall का chapter पढ़ेंगे वहाँ भी शायद बात हो जाए. तो average rainfall of Pakistan, average rainfall in Pakistan is mentioned. Different people have mentioned it differently. One research paper by the Pakistan Met Department, they say this is about 270 millimeter per year is the average rainfall for Pakistan. तो 270 और इससे अलावा भी आपको वैल्यूज मिलेंगी. वर्ल्ड फूड प्रोग्राम WFO की एक वेबसाइट है, उस पर आई थिंक 400 मिलीमीटर एवरेज रेनफॉल भी मेंशन है. तो मेट डिपार्टमेंट कहता है कि एवरेज रेनफॉल 271 मिलीमीटर पर ईयर है. तो ये रेनफॉल आ गई. ग्राउंड वाटर मैंने बता दिया अबाउट 40. ग्राउंड वाटर टोटल स्टोरेज वी कैन नॉट टेल यू हाउ मच इट इज, बट हाउ मच वी आर एक्सट्रैक्टिंग, or how much is the sustainable extraction. So it is estimated 40 to 45 million acre feet is a safe extraction from the groundwater. That is what we are getting it from now, getting it from the groundwater. So ये तीन resources आपको बता दिए हैं which make the total availability of water Pakistan. How much is used by which sector? Three major sectors are described by the literature. One is the agriculture sector, which is the biggest user of water, agriculture for growing crop, and provision of water for agriculture, artificial application of water for agriculture, that is called as irrigation. तो agriculture के लिए water supply करने को irrigation कहते हैं. So we are a provider of irrigation facility through canals, barrages, dams, civil engineers, construction of tubewells. तो irrigation के लिए हम लोग infrastructure बना के देते हैं. तो biggest sector is agriculture in the world, and then it is domestic uses, and then industrial. So if you see the global division of water in these three sectors, about 70% of the global water utilization is by the agriculture, 23% is by the industry, and 8% is for urban water supply, or for क्या कहते हैं उसे drinking water purpose for the population. Low income countries में agriculture has more domination, and high income sector में industry has more dominant use. Low income country में agriculture is being, और अगर हम पाकिस्तान को देखें तो पाकिस्तान में जो इस वक्त current utilization of water है, that is 94% is utilized by the agriculture, 5% for the domestic purposes, for to supply to the cities and drinking purpose, and only 1% utilization is for the industry. So that is the overall picture of water utilization or water demands by different sectors. These demands have been outlined by this research paper, the vulnerability of Pakistan water sector to the climate, to impact of the climate change. So they have outlined how much was the utilization by the agriculture in 75, how much it is in 2008, and how much is the total water being utilized in Pakistan. So this column tells you the division between these three sectors in Pakistan as given by this report. So bulk of the water, about 94% of the water is utilized by agriculture, 5% is utilized by urban, and they have quantified it over here. So they think 183 billion cubic meter. A kilometer cube is a billion cubic meter. So that is what is mentioned over here. So that is our water demand. So that was the introduction of water resources availability in Pakistan and water being utilized in Pakistan. In future, what we are expecting that water resources availability will not remain as it is in future. इसका वो पेपर होगा बोले हो. Okay. So in Pakistan, this water resources availability will not remain same, and this demand will not remain same. So we should not take it for granted that this status quo will continue. because climate is changing. There are quite sufficient amount of evidences that temperature is rising, ozone layer is depleting. What else? Sea level is rising. So all these are the factors which show that the climate is changing. When climate change, so hydrology is affected, meteorology is affected, and then the hydrology is affected. So when hydrology and meteorology is affected, then water availability will be affected. Due to temperature increase, some of our river, bulk quantity of the river is, for example, for Indus River, main Indus River, sufficient amount of water contributed to the Indus River at Tarbela, at the upper parts, is glacier melt. So it is expected that in near future, in near next 2-3 decades, because of the temperature rising, we are expecting more flows in Indus. But climate change is also affecting the and after few decades, when glacier will be melted to sufficient amount, then retreat of the glacier will be there, mean glacier area will be reduced, and we will be getting less water. So we should be ready for these both the phases. Initially, we should be ready to harness the more water availability, and then we should be able to change, adapt ourselves so that we can live in a better way with the low water availability scenario also. And also it has been seen that in urban areas, groundwater is under stress, groundwater is depleting. We are seeing that it is not being replenished in the next monsoon season, rather it is depleting. Case of Lahore we can quote, case of Quetta we can quote. So in urban areas, groundwater is under stress and water is going down, while in the rest of the area, water is still at the balance. In non-urban area, it is still balancing itself. So climate change is changing the quantity also, and climate change is affecting in another way that more extreme events will be expected to occur, because if temperature rises, it creates more evaporation. When more evaporation is there in a smaller time period, then more heavy rainfall is expected to occur. So that can give rise to the more flooding. So it is expected that overall water quantity will not change around the globe, but more frequent extreme events, and extreme events of both kind: higher flows, higher rainfall, low flow, and a drought. So more extreme events are expected due to the climate change. So we as a water managers should be ready for that, and we should be able to predict them. We should be able to help people live in that scenario also. And we, at the first moment, we should try to reduce the climate change itself by changing our habits of using the energy and using the fossil fuels. Fossil fuel is the one of the main cause of increased temperature around the globe. तो ये एक पूरा अलग टॉपिक है क्लाइमेट चेंज की तरफ. पूरी एमएससीज और पीएचडीज हो रही हैं क्लाइमेट चेंज की तरफ, बट वी आर द डायरेक्ट we will be bearing the direct impact of the climate change as a hydrologist. So we should be ready for that, how much it is expected. हाइड्रोलॉजी वाले पीपल ने इम्पैक्ट ऑफ द क्लाइमेट चेंज को स्टडी करके बताया हुआ है कि इतना फ्लो फलानी जगह बढ़ जाएगा, इतना फ्लो कम हो जाएगा. दिस शुड बी डन, सो यू विल बी कैरिंग इट आउट इन फ्यूचर आल्सो. तो ये एक ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन था क्लाइमेट चेंज का. Climate change can water resources availability and the demands of water resources in Pakistan. It can be further read through different literature. डॉक्टर नज़ीर अहमद अवान ने वाटर रिसोर्सेज ऑफ पाकिस्तान पे पूरी किताब लिखी है, दैट कैन बी सीन. वापडा यूजुअली डिस्क्राइब वाटर रिसोर्सेज ऑफ पाकिस्तान आल्सो ऑन देयर वेबसाइट. इसी तरह और रिसोर्सेज भी अवेलेबल हैं. सो आई स्टॉप इट ओवर हियर. इफ यू हैव एनी क्वेश्चन अप टिल नाउ, आफ्टर द ब्रेक आई इंटेंड टू स्टार्ट द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक ऑफ मेट्रोलॉजी. अगर किसी का इसमें क्वेश्चन है तो वेलकम. I will be showing in the second part some instruments, and we will be seeing how the metrology measurements are affecting the hydrologist. तो ये जो अभी तक हमने पढ़ा है हाइड्रोलॉजी, ये आपका हाइड्रोलॉजी फॉर इंजीनियर्स में पहला चैप्टर अगर आप देखेंगे तो दैट इज द जनरल इंट्रोडक्शन। तो उसमें ये चीज़ें, इनमें से कुछ चीज़ें होनी चाहिए। तो पाकिस्तान का वाटर रिसोर्सेज आपको उस लिंजले की बुक नहीं देगी, उसके लिए आपको कोई पाकिस्तानी लोकल बुक देखनी पड़ेगी। लेकिन क्या है हाइड्रोलॉजिकल साइकिल ओवर द ग्लोब, कितना पानी अवेलेबल है, वो इस तरह की बातें आपको पहले चैप्टर से मिल जाएंगी। तो प्लीज़ रीड द रेलिवेंट पार्ट ऑफ द बुक आल्सो, डोंट ओनली रिलाई ऑन द स्लाइड्स, इधर उधर से पढ़ते रहें, और स्पेशली ये लिंजले की बुक तो देख लें। कुछ हिस्ट्री ऑफ हाइड्रोलॉजी है इसमें बताई हुई। ओके, आई स्टॉप रिकॉर्डिंग ओवर हियर नाउ।
सर
इफ यू हैव नो क्वेश्चन, एनी क्वेश्चन?
सर ये रिम स्टेशन एक्चुअली क्या चीज है?
स्टेशन से पता चल गया, एक लोकेशन होगी।
यस सर। सर वो डिफरेंट जगह पे भी तो किसी मतलब रिवर वगैरह पे हो सकता है, तो उनमें से जो सबसे बड़ा स्टेशन हमारा या कोई भी इस
नहीं,
तरह का
बड़ा
होगा
नहीं,
हेड?
बड़ा नहीं, मैंने इसको ऐसे डिफाइन किया था, द स्टेशन बिफोर दीज रिवर्स एंटर इनटू द प्लेन एरिया। रिवर तो इंडस रिवर कहाँ से आ रहा है? स्कर्दू से, और उससे भी ऊपर से आ रहा है। तो फर्स्ट स्टेशन को रिम स्टेशन नहीं कह रहे, फर्स्ट स्टेशन व्हेन रिवर एंटर्स इनटू द प्लेन ऑफ इंडस बेसिन, हिली एरिया से निकल के जब प्लेन ऑफ इंडस, ये वो हमारा मेन एग्रीकल्चरल एरिया है जिसके लिए हमने इरिगेशन सिस्टम बनाया हुआ है। तो
ओके
इस
सर।
इरिगेशन सिस्टम के लिए हमने क्वांटिफाई करना था फ्लोज, तो उन्होंने वो स्टेशंस व्हिच आर जस्ट अपस्ट्रीम ऑफ दिस प्लेन एरिया, उनको रिम स्टेशन कहा हुआ। तो
ओके सर।
तरबेला या जिनाह बिराज, ये दो लोकेशन है। कभी कभी रिम स्टेशन तरबेला को बोल देते हैं इंडस पे, देन नुशेरा एट काबुल, उसका पानी ऐड हमें करना पड़ता है। तो ये दोनों दरिया जब मिल जाते हैं तो जो नेक्स्ट स्टेशन आता है वो जिनाह बिराज है। तो जिनाह बिराज, या जिसको कालाबाग बिराज भी कहते हैं, सो दैट इज द रिम स्टेशन ऑन इंडस। जेहलम पाकिस्तान में जब एंटर होता है तो मंगला रिजर्वायर वहां बनी हुई है, तो उस पर कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है। मंगला इज द रिम स्टेशन ऑन जेहलम, उससे ऊपर के स्टेशन पाकिस्तान के पास है ही नहीं। ठीक है, अगले अगले रिवर पे आ जाओ, चनाब रिवर। चनाब एंटर्स इनटू पाकिस्तान एरिया एट मराला, सियालकोट के पास जगह है। उसके बाद परली तरफ वहाँ खड़े हो तो आपको इंडियन आर्मी भी नजर आ सकती है, इतना करीब है। तो मराला फ्लोज आर कंसिडर्ड एज द इनफ्लोज एट चनाब इन पाकिस्तान, सो वो रिम स्टेशन है। रावी और सतलुज के लिए मैंने बता दिया, जसर ब्रिज, और सतलुज के लिए किला गंडा सिंह या फिर सुलेमान की बिराज। सो ये हैं हमारे रिम स्टेशंस।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
पाकिस्तान में लेक्चर चल रहा है। So these are the stations which we call as the rim stations. So any other questions? Or this we can show you through picture also. If you see the Indus Basin schematic diagram, so that we call as the उनके ऊपर इसको locate किया हुआ होता है. Okay, I stop it over here. After 10 minutes, about 10 past 9 पे आपसे मिलते हैं. 42 attendees are there. Let me open the new slides. I'm starting the recording also. So, and I am trying to download the attendance also. Download attendance list. Dismiss. So 2710. So today attendance has been downloaded. I am putting it on WhatsApp page. Okay. So our next topic, we have to introduce you with the meteorology and why we are civil engineers, and within civil engineers there is a particular field we say hydrologist. Why we are teaching you hydrology, that is a field for hydrologists. That have already been informed to you why we are studying hydrology. And many civil engineer work as a hydrologist also, but also non-civil engineer do work as hydrologist. Non-civil engineers, like there is MSc hydrology being done in Punjab University purely for hydrology. Simply BSc physics or after FSc they take the students. They don't call themselves as engineers, so they call themselves as hydrologists. So hydrology is a separate branch. We are reading that part of hydrology which is required for engineering purposes, for construction of infrastructure, for utilization of the water, for the beneficial purpose of the society. So that part of hydrology we are studying. We are not studying the complete hydrology. But what to do with the meteorology? That is altogether a separate branch of branch in which masters and PhDs are being conducted. Reason for that is hydrologists have to estimate the availability of water at his point of interest, which is usually the point of his project or future project. So at that place, he wants to know how much is the water available, how much is the rainfall. So he has to frequently interact with the meteorology people, meteorologist. And you will also be taken to Pakistan Meteorological Department also, maybe in a couple of weeks. I will ask CR to come ahead and draft a letter or get the letter from me and take it to the Met Department for approval. We can schedule a one-day trip over there to Pakistan Meteorological Department where you can see the modern instruments. So we have to deal with the meteorologist people to get the information from them. What information we want to get from meteorology? We are not measuring the rainfall. It is the meteorologists who are measuring the rainfall. Usually the river flow is measured by some of the civil engineering department like Bob Dand Irrigation, but rainfall is measured by meteorology people. So information about atmosphere, information about study about atmosphere, the parameters which affect the weather, parameter which affect the climate of an area. So this is the main specialty of the meteorologist. So we have to deal with them, and sometimes we have to utilize their data also. So we should be knowing their terminology. We should be knowing their parameters so that we can easily understand them and use it for our analysis purpose also. So we should be making you quite clear there is a difference between weather and climate. Anybody have the idea what is weather, difference between weather and climate? The right hand side I have written a small thing, but you can understand this difference between weather and climate. Weather is the current condition of atmosphere, current condition, current atmospheric condition, temperature, humidity, wind speed. So this is defining weather. अभी इस वक्त जो हालात हैं. And the climate overall represents average condition of weather in that area, and that depends upon data of long period. So we can say that it is humid climate in area close to coastal, but we cannot say that it is humid. We cannot say that climate is having rainfall today. So climate represents a long-term behavior of atmosphere at that place. Climate represents a long-term behavior of atmosphere at a place, while weather is the current situation. So you will be seeing the weather reports on the TV and radio. So they will be telling you current, but if you have to study an area, then you are usually studying the climate of that area. When you, for example, I have to construct a project in Lahore. So what is rainfall occurring today? What is the weather today will not be affecting my project. that may be affecting the construction of today's activities, but the project size, project features, that will be affected by the climatic condition of that area, which is dependent upon long time period data. How much is the average rainfall of last 30 years? So that will be affecting the availability of water. What are the average, what are the mean maximum temperature of that area? What is the highest maximum temperature of that area? So those things are related to the climate. Got it? So we should be much clear about climate and the weather. Don't mix them together. Don't say today climate is having 30 degrees centigrade temperature. Today climate is giving me rainfall of 10 millimeter rainfall. So this is representation of the weather, current weather at the place. So we will be telling you what is meteorology itself, क्या होती है, what are the different part of atmosphere. We will be telling you different parameters which affect them, which meteorologist people are measuring, so that they can forecast the weather at a certain place. They can forecast the climatic condition at a certain place. So ये parameter बताने हैं, how these parameters are measured, ये बताना है, measurement of different meteorological parameter, and how do what are the important weather system with respect to Pakistan and this area. कौन से वेदर सिस्टम है जो यहाँ के क्लाइमेट को डिफाइन करते हैं, यहाँ के मौसमों को डिफाइन करते हैं. Got it? So this is our idea that we want to convey to you, although it is a whole branch of science, meteorology, and its proper definition, it is science of atmosphere. Science of atmosphere, definition is finished here. The rest is the definition of what is atmosphere. So meteorology is the science of atmosphere. And what is the atmosphere? Atmosphere is the envelope, gaseous envelope surrounding the earth. जो हमारी अर्थ है, ग्लोब है, जो हमारी सैटेलाइट है, इसके सॉलिड पार्ट के आसपास जो सराउंडिंग गैसियस एनवेलप है, कवर है, that is the atmosphere. Other person can define meteorology as a study and forecasting of the weather changes. Study and forecasting of the weather changes is meteorology. So it deals with the weather condition, it deals with the forecasting of the weather condition. So these two things, two definitions can be stated for meteorology. Atmosphere is the word which is coined by combination of two words, Greek words. One is atmos and the second is sphaira. So atmos refer to the vapors of breath. The vapor particles are what we call it. Vapor of the breath is nothing but it is the water in vaporized form. So atmosphere means the study, the feature which is surrounding a sphere or a ball. So atmosphere is the water vapors which are surrounding a sphere. So that is what makes atmosphere. So envelope, in simple word, we can say envelope which is surrounding. Or which kind of envelope? Not solid, gaseous envelope, which contains, of course, the vapors. The gaseous envelope which contains vapors inside it. So that is the and that surrounds the globe. So that is the atmosphere. This atmosphere has been divided into different layers. Next slide will tell you how we have divided it and what are the important features within this atmosphere. Why study of atmosphere is necessary? Because we want to know how much. One thing, we want to predict the weather. Meteorologist people want to predict the weather. Why they want to predict the weather? Because it affects our daily life. If somebody has to go on travel, he will like to know if it will be raining or not. If somebody want to crop today, put the seed, he will like to know if rainfall will be coming or not. So this affect our daily life. That's why the person, it may be to any field. If a person can be related to any field, businessman, office job, farmer, teacher. So they are concerned with the weather. So they usually see what, if they don't listen the news, he will see from the outside that, okay, if it is sun is clear, so this will be the fair weather today. If it is cloudy, so there are chances. So he can forecast himself also, but not as accurate as the weather people or meteorologist people can do it, because they have more information than me. I am seeing a part of the sky, and they are seeing a huge area with the help of the modern instruments. They are seeing, they have more information available to them, so they can predict it better, because weather is not only affected by the local temperature and local cloudy condition, it is affected by the surrounding areas also. So every branch of life is affected by the weather. So meteorology science has been developed from the ancient ages, and it is being developed still. Quite enormous growth of this branch of science have been seen in the recent decades with the help of the satellites, with the help of the radars, with the help of the modern measurement instruments. They have improved their weather forecast quite enormously. With respect to large weather system like cyclones, they can predict it very well. With respect to the local weather system, which are affected by the local features like hilly area, terrain, they cannot forecast as good as they can predict or forecast the large weather system. Even it is now customary in Pakistan also that for the next crop season, next Kharif season, they forecast, they predict, we are expecting 80% of the normal rainfall, or we are predicting normal rainfall in the coming season. So they have seasonal forecast, they have yearly forecast, and then they have the monthly 15 days, 10 days, and daily forecast are also available. So their purpose is not only to forecast, their purpose is to record the data also for the current data also that any field of life, any person who need that data for his purpose, that can be provided. So they are interested with the duty meteorology to record the weather related data. So meteorological elements, if we talk, the weather can be predicted, weather can be measured, weather can be presented through these parameters. When we say weather, so it means we are talking about these parameters. These are the temperature, most important, pressure of that area, very much important, humidity, which measures how much is the water vapor available at a certain place, humidity, and its variation. So these are the important parameters which weather people are measuring, in addition to other parameters like wind speed, sunshine hours. So they are measuring tens of different parameters, but importantly, these are the parameters which affect the weather to quite a large extent. So weather condition is not stagnant. Weather condition is not static. It is a dynamic process. It is changing with the time, and it is changing horizontally and vertically in both way. If we move it from here and vertically we go up, we will not see the weather element like temperature and pressure as constant. Whatever is the temperature and pressure at this location where I am sitting, vertically up, if I go, temperature will change, pressure will change, and humidity will change. So these parameters change quite a lot, and vertically their change is quite prominent as compared to the horizontal direction. If I move horizontally 100 meter, and if I move vertically 100 meter, variation of the weather parameter vertically will be more prominent. Change of weather parameter horizontally will be less. So greater emphasis, the weather people give the more emphasis to the vertical structure of the atmosphere. So if we take a vertical section of atmosphere. If we cut vertical section of the atmosphere, they are showing you over here about 140 kilometer height from the ground surface. If we say this is the ground surface, hopefully you are seeing mouse movement. Mouse की movement आपको नजर आ रही होगी. So this x-axis is actually representing the, let us say, the Earth surface. So our sea level surface. So then Mount Everest height is this much. With the scale at which this figure is drawn, Mount Everest is shown over here. Anybody have idea इसकी height कितनी है Mount Everest की? किसी को पता है इसका एलिवेशन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू सी लेवल कितना है? You are getting my voice or not?
सर above 86,011 मीटर है शायद।
86,011 86,000 मीटर। 1,000 मीटर का 1 किलोमीटर होता है।
सर 8611 मेरे ख्याल से।
8611 बस 10 टाइम्स का फर्क था।
That 8,848 meters.
ये सही है, इसका गूगल सही चल रहा है।
सर गूगल ने किया 8,611 K2 की है।
मैं अभी गूगल से पूछ लेता हूँ। इतना ही है जो मेरे ज़हन में आ रहा है, 88 का फिगर आ रहा है। सो अबाउट 8 किलोमीटर 8.8 किलोमीटर अबव द सी लेवल, नॉट ग्राउंड। वहाँ का जो लोकल ग्राउंड है उससे वो इसकी इतनी हाइट नहीं होगी। सी लेवल से इसकी हाइट जो है, जो पीक की हाइट है, दैट इज अबाउट 8800 मीटर, about 8.8 kilometers. So that is what is shown over here also. Mount Everest यहाँ दिखाया हुआ है। So 10 किलोमीटर की लाइन ये है। So this atmosphere is divided into 3-4 layers. The bottom most layer is called as a troposphere, about 10 kilometer, or the line which divides this troposphere and the next sphere, stratosphere, उसको हम कहते हैं tropopause. Next line which divides stratosphere and the mesosphere, that is called as the stratopause. And the next line which divides the mesopause and mesosphere and the thermosphere, that is called as the mesopause. ये वो तीन लाइनें हैं. These are the three lines at which temperature is stagnant or not changing much as it is changing in the upper and the lower layer. जब tropopause आता है तो temperature is more or less constant to certain extent in, surrounding that location against temperature. So this red line is actually showing the temperature variation. Let me tell you first this thing. X-axis पे temperature quantity लिखी हुई है in degree centigrade and degree Fahrenheit, while vertical axis are height from the sea level. Left side is in kilometer and the right side is in miles. So lower 10, 11, 15, 16 kilometers are called as troposphere. Bulk of the atmosphere, rather most of the atmosphere which affect our weather system, that is happening in this troposphere. Most of the activities which affect the weather system, which affect the land underneath with respect to meteorology, that is happening in this troposphere. So this troposphere is of interest to the meteorologist and the hydrologist. हमारा जो interest है ना वो इसी layer of atmosphere में. All the atmosphere is up to place where gases are there, but the humidity, the water vapors, the cyclonic activities, rainfall activities, most of them are occurring within this layer. Within this troposphere layer, if you see the temperature, average temperature of the earth is called about 20 degree centigrade. 20 degree centigrade के करीब हमारी ज़मीन का average temperature है. As we go up, temperature reduces. As we go up, temperature reduces, and it reduced as low as -60 degree close to the tropopause. -60 डिग्री, तो वेरिएशन कितनी होगी? तकरीबन 80 डिग्री की वेरिएशन होगी. Here +20 था, here -60 हो गया. So this layer is of much importance to the hydrologist and meteorologist, which is extending. At some places it is 7 kilometer, at some places it is 16 kilometer. So on average we say 10-11 kilometer is the thickness of the troposphere. All meteorological phenomena like cloud formation, इससे ऊपर आपको cloud भी कम नहीं नजर आएंगे, कम नजर आएंगे. Like cloud formation, occurrence of the cyclone and thunderstorms are occurring in this troposphere. So this is the reason of studying of this troposphere in meteorology हम करते हैं. हमारे जो 10 किलोमीटर आमतौर पे इसी हाइट पे जो है ना आपके जो एयरलाइनर्स हैं, जो इंटरनेशनल एयरलाइंस हैं, वो ट्रैवल करना पसंद करती हैं. उसकी रीज़न ये है कि यहाँ पे इनको मूवमेंट ऑफ द विंड मिल जाती है, जिसको वो कहते हैं जेट स्ट्रीम्स. सो दे ट्राई टू फॉलो द जेट स्ट्रीम्स. वो तकरीबन क्लोज टू द equator, subtropical area में, they say it is at the level of the tropopause, jet streams मिल जाती हैं. If we go towards the pole, so वो तो थोड़ा lower elevation पे होती हैं, लेकिन close to the tropics, it is at the elevation of tropopause. So यहाँ पे airlines travel कर रही होती हैं most of the time for economic reasons to reduce their fuel cost and use the wind current. Coming back to the meteorology, the more major elements which the meteorology people are observing and which affect the weather condition, those are listed over here. One is the atmospheric pressure, one is the vapor pressure, one is the saturation vapor pressure, dew point. You have already gone through their definitions in the lab part also, I think. If it is, आपने lab part में इनकी definitions पढ़ ली हैं?
Yes, sir.
वाइवा भी हो गया?
नहीं सर, next week job submit होनी है.
Next week वाइवा है. चलो ये theory plus lab का जो information and that will complement each other. That will be making you more knowledgeable. So any reason for this atmospheric pressure? Why we are having pressure over here? Do you feel any pressure where you are sitting? Atmospheric pressure है आपके ऊपर के नहीं है? या सिर्फ टीचर का ही प्रेशर है या अम्मा अब्बा का प्रेशर है? So at बोलो
एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर महसूस तो होता नहीं है ऊपर.
महसूस नहीं होता, but there is a pressure. That's true, because our inner blood pressure is balancing that atmospheric pressure. अगर आप चले जाओ space में and you don't have a pressure suit, then you will be knowing what happens. क्या होगा? Or if you go underneath the sea and that surrounding pressure is enhanced, फिर क्या होगा? क्या ख्याल है? स्पेस पे चले जाओ जहाँ एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर नहीं होता. हाँ जी, ब्लीडिंग स्टार्ट हो जाती है जैसे जैसे आप ऊपर जाते जाते हो. एक्सटर्नल प्रेशर कम होता जाता है, इंटरनल प्रेशर वही रहता है, तो ब्लीडिंग स्टार्ट हो जाती है. सो दैट्स व्हाई they use the pressurized suit when they go to space. Similarly, they use pressure cells if they have to dive deep into ocean. तो वो सराउंडिंग प्रेशर जो है वो नॉर्मल रखता है rather than getting the pressure of the ocean. Okay, so now this will tell you why we have the pressure over here while I am sitting over here. If there is some pressure, so that is because of the vertical column of air over here. Air is containing mass. इसकी डेंसिटी हमें अंदाजा होना चाहिए. पानी की डेंसिटी का आपको अंदाजा है? So पानी की डेंसिटी कितनी होती है?
981 न्यूटन पर मीटर स्क्वायर पर मीटर क्यूब.
डेंसिटी होती क्या है?
सर मास ओवर वॉल्यूम.
मास कब से न्यूटन में मेजर किया जा रहा है?
सर वो किलोग्राम में कर ले तो 1000 हो जाएगी, 1000 किलोग्राम पर मीटर क्यूब.
अब सही हो. तो 1000 kg पर क्यूबिक मीटर इज द डेंसिटी ऑफ वाटर. तो इसी से अंदाजा लगाएं एयर की क्या डेंसिटी है. मैं इसलिए क्योंकि एक चीज मुझे नोन है, आप लोगों को भी पता है, उसके रेफरेंस से जब आप याद करेंगे तो आपको ये बात याद रहेगी कि एयर डेंसिटी. अब सही से बताओ ना, एक कह रहे 1, एक तरफ 14.
सर 1.29
यूनिट्स
kg पर क्यूबिक मीटर.
ठीक है. वो अगर पानी 1000 kg, if water is 1000 kg per cubic meter density, air is very much light, 1.2 kg per cubic meter. It means if I have a 1 cubic meter of air at normal pressure, its density is just 1 kilogram per cubic meter. So about 1000 times lighter. But still, because we have a huge height of air above us, at least 10 kilometers high, then we have a pressure at a unit area. We have a force. Weight of the air column is causing a force on the land surface and on me and on you. So that is about that is causing the atmospheric pressure. That is controlling much of the weather condition in at the globe. इसको जो प्रेशर जो है ना किसी भी जगह का वो वेदर सिस्टम को कंट्रोल कर रहा है और प्रेशर जो है वो कंट्रोल होता है डिफरेंट रीजंस की वजह से टेम्परेचर की वजह से सर्कुलेशंस की वजह से डिफरेंट रीजंस की वजह से प्रेशर चेंज होता है. So atmospheric pressure होता क्यों है? We have come to know it is because of the vertical column of the air at the place, and at sea level its value is about कितने लिखी हुई है 101.3 kilopascal. 101.3 kilopascal is the sea, its normal value at the sea. As you go above the sea, जैसे जैसे सी से ऊपर माउंट एवरेस्ट की तरफ जाओ या पर एटमॉस्फेयर की तरफ जाओ, atmospheric pressure should reduce because the height of the air column will reduce. As we go up, height of the air column will reduce. So as we go low, atmospheric depth increase, so height of the air column will increase and air pressure will increase, atmospheric pressure. Usually जो आप pressure measure करते हैं, normally the pressure in the tube of the tire, pressure measured in the pipes. What we are measuring is pressure above the atmospheric pressure. उसको हम कहते हैं gauge pressure measure कर रहे हैं. So normally the pressure meter which is with the boy at the tire shop, that is measuring pressure above the atmospheric pressure. So if we measure pressure with respect to the zero pressure, absolute zero, when there is no air mass, that is a space. So that is the zero pressure. So if we measure above that pressure, we say this pressure is absolute pressure. So absolute pressure is measuring from the zero pressure, where is simply vacuum, no pressure, उससे ऊपर measure कर रहा है, and normal pressure gauges are measuring pressure above the atmospheric pressure at that location. This has been told to you in fluid mechanics 1 also. So gauge pressure and absolute pressure difference was told to you. So if you have absolute pressure with you, somebody tell you absolute pressure is 110 kilopascal, and you want to find the gauge pressure, just subtract the atmospheric pressure from that absolute pressure. So if somebody tell you 90 is 101 के बजाय 90 kilopascal is the absolute pressure, just subtract 90 minus 101 kilopascal, so minus 10, it means they have below atmospheric pressure 10 kilopascal का pressure. So we can measure gauge pressure, we can measure absolute pressure. We know the difference between these two. So what instrument will be used to measure atmospheric pressure? That is barometer. So barometer, I will tell you after this slide how it works, and I have the instruments with me today. Some of the instrument I have brought, so I will show you these instruments. So this is not barometer which I am showing you, but I am telling that I have the custody of the instruments, meteorological instruments with me today. So vapor pressure is another important meteorological element that represents amount of vapor present in the gas, in the atmosphere. Amount of the vapor present. Why we are interested in it? Vapor pressure mein, this is actually pressure, but it is linked to, pressure is linked to amount of vapor quantity available in the atmosphere. So either we mention it in absolute quantity terms, so much gram of vapors are present, or we mention in terms of its pressure. So both can be convertible to each other, but meteorological people are happy with representing vapor quantity in the form of the vapor pressure. So in FSC also we have studied what is vapor pressure. It is a pressure exerted by the vapor present above a liquid surface, vapor present in the air above a liquid surface. So if we consider the whole atmosphere and the globe as a closed system, and from the surface of the earth, vapor are going up in the atmosphere, so the partial pressure, not the total pressure is the atmospheric pressure. So out of this atmospheric pressure, how much pressure is because of the water vapors? So that is the vapor pressure in the atmosphere. And how to measure it? Directly we cannot measure the atmospheric pressure using the Borden gauge and these things. We measure it with the help of alternate ways. I will tell you how to have the estimate of vapor pressure. So you are well familiar with the vapor pressure because you have carried out the lab experiment in which vapor pressure was calculated or given, and you also had the saturation vapor pressure line also over there, and you have calculated the deficit vapor pressure or deficit क्या कहते हैं उसे vapor pressure deficit you have calculated. So saturation vapor pressure is the maximum vapor pressure the air can withhold at a certain temperature. The maximum vapor pressure which air can hold, which air parcel or air body can hold. If more vapor pressure, if more vapors joins, they condense back. At a certain temperature, an air body and air parcel cannot hold more than its saturation vapor pressure. So whatever it can hold, maximum level, so that we call this is a saturation vapor pressure. So this is important, saturation vapor pressure. इसकी importance क्या है? Saturation vapor pressure की importance क्या है? हम लोगों के लिए क्यों important है? नहीं पता? नहीं पता तो बोल दो।
प्रेसिपिटेशन के साथ लिंक करेगा।
हाँ जी, बारिश होने के लिए जरूरी है कि एयर रीचेस टू द सैचुरेशन वेपर प्रेशर। जब इसमें सैचुरेशन हो जाती है एंड इट फर्दर कूल्स डाउन एंड इट फर्दर कूल डाउन, तो इसके जो सैचुरेशन लेवल है वो रिड्यूस हो जाता है। दिस सैचुरेशन वेपर प्रेशर या सैचुरेशन वैल्यू इज डिपेंडेंट अपॉन टेम्परेचर। More the temperature of the air, more vapor it can accommodate. Less the temperature, less water it can accommodate. आपने जो saturation vapor pressure की line देखी होगी with respect to temperature, as the temperature increases, saturation vapor pressure increases. So it is function of temperature. More the temperature, more is the saturation vapor pressure. More is the temperature, more is saturation vapor pressure. अब अगर एक air की body saturation vapor pressure पे है at this temperature, whatever is the temperature at that place, वो saturation पे है, तो it will not rain down. If that body moves to a place where temperature is reduced due to any reason, वहाँ किसी ने बर्फ रखी है या it has gone to an area where temperature is less, then its saturation vapor pressure value is reduced, so the extra vapor it will shed down in the form of, it will drop down in the form of rainfall. So it has much bearing on the occurrence of the rainfall at a place. So saturation vapor pressure is important parameter, and people have measured it that for this much temperature saturation vapor pressure is this much. Usually this vapor pressures mentioned over here are either in millibars or in bars or in kilopascal, ये इसके units होते हैं. Dew point temperature is the temperature at which air mass just becomes saturated if cooled at constant vapor pressure. Every air parcel have vapors present inside it to some amount, so that is the showing its humidity. So if it is not saturated at the moment at this temperature, so this humidity or this vapor pressure, this amount of humidity present, this will be equal to the saturation vapor pressure at what temperature? So if I don't change the humidity quantity, but if I reduce the temperature of that parcel of air, so then at some temperature it will reach to saturation level. So that temperature which makes an air parcel to its saturation condition, that temperature is called as the dew point temperature. So इसको अगर मैं वो जो हमारे पास एक कर्व थी जो आपने वहाँ देखी थी अपने लैब में, so this is a temperature versus saturation vapor pressure curve. Hopefully everybody have seen it. ऐसे ही है. So for example, current temperature is 40 degree and vapor pressure is about 50 degree, 50 whatever are the units. मुझे इस वक्त यूनिट्स यहाँ से नजर नहीं आ रहे. Saturation vapor pressure millibars में units हैं. Let us say current temperature is 40 degrees centigrade and pressure is 50 millibars. So we are over here. So at what temperature this 50 millibar becomes as a saturation vapor pressure? This 50 millibar line cuts the saturation line at 32 or 33 degree centigrade. So for this air parcel, which has a humidity or a vapor pressure of 50 millibar, for this, the dew point temperature will be 32 degrees centigrade. If this air parcel temperature reduced to 32 degrees centigrade, this will become saturated. So dew point temperature is that temperature which brings a certain mass of air, certain parcel of the air to its saturation vapor pressure point. So that temperature. So dew point temperature is temperature which makes a air parcel saturated. The temperature at which the air mass or air parcel just becomes saturated if cooled at a constant. Vapor pressure change नहीं होना चाहिए. Constant vapor pressure पे वो कौन से temperature है जो इसको saturation point पे पहुंचा देगा. ठीक है? So rather than going, okay, relative humidity is ratio of the actual vapor pressure at a place to the saturation vapor pressure. The humidity, relative humidity is showing this. And what is humidity simply? It is the amount of water vapors present at a certain place. So that is humidity. Relative humidity is with respect to the saturation vapor pressure. Saturation deficit is the difference of the saturation vapor pressure and the current vapor pressure. So these two things we have calculated already. There is a term called lapse rate. It is a rate at which temperature reduces as we go up in altitude. As we go up in the atmosphere, what is the rate of reduction of temperature? So average rate of reduction of temperature in troposphere is about 6.5 degrees centigrade per kilometer as we go up. Rate of reduction. So lapse rate is minus 6.5 degrees centigrade per kilometer in troposphere, not in upper layers. In troposphere, this rate is the average rate. I go to the instruments and before going into further reading, I tell you atmospheric pressure is measured with the help of a barometer. You have seen this barometer. अगर मैं अपने वीडियो भी देख लूँ कि ये नजर भी आ रहा है कि नहीं. So here is the barometer, simple barometer, which is about 1 meter long tube filled with the mercury. It is inverted tube. इस box के अंदर एक glass की tube है, which is filled with the mercury, and the bottom has a tub of mercury or a cylinder of the mercury in which that tube is inserted. So the height of the mercury column in this tube represents the atmospheric pressure over here. What is the working principle of this barometer? That can you see in the video in more detail. Working principle of this barometer. आप इस ये मैंने आपके पास जो स्लाइड है उनमें हो सकता है ये नाम मेंशन हो. ये कल मैंने इस YouTube को वीडियो को डाला है. How barometer works. It is simply a glass tube filled with the mercury, and it is inverted into a tub or a pan of mercury filled cylinder. So when it is inserted into the tub, the mercury column interact with the atmosphere and it is sustaining a certain height. The height of that mercury column represents how much is the atmospheric pressure on the surrounding cylinder. तो एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर कम होगा तो वो हाइट ऑफ द मर्करी कॉलम नीचे आ जाएगा. अगर एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर ज्यादा होगा, हाइट ऑफ द मर्करी कॉलम विल गो अप. So we can measure, we can read this column height visually, and we can record the local atmospheric pressure. So height of the mercury pressure can be represented by sometimes kilopascal, pascal, pounds per square inch, And one representation of the pressure is height of a liquid column which is sustained by that pressure. Like you have read in fluid mechanics, velocity head. So that is our pressure head. So we can describe the head pressure in terms of head also. The relation between head or the height of the liquid and the pressure is P is equal to gamma H. If you multiply the unit weight or the specific weight of that fluid with the head of that fluid, height of that fluid, you can get the pressure in Pascal. Or vice versa also true. If you have the pressure in Pascal divided by the gamma of the fluid, you can get height of that fluid, which can be sustained by that pressure. So that is a barometer, mercury barometer, or we call it. Another kind of barometer I can show you over here is this one, एंड्रॉइड बैरोमीटर. ये आपको ऑफिसेज में आपको इसके अंदर एक सिलेंडर होता है which reduce its size or increase its size depending upon its air pressure surrounding it. There is a cylinder which can expand if the air pressure surrounding that is low, and it can reduce its size if the air pressure. The reduction of the size or the expansion of the size is shown with the help of the dial gauge over here. So that represents its value of the atmospheric pressure. So we have another thing, क्या कहते हैं इसे, atmospheric pressure measurement. बाज़ का इस तरह का इंस्ट्रूमेंट होता है. That is a recording kind of atmospheric pressure meter. We call it barograph. This is not barograph, but it looks similar to this. मेरी वीडियो कहाँ है? If you are seeing, so I am showing you this instrument. Actually, this one is a thermograph, but barograph also works in the similar way. If I show you this graph, so when we open its top, usually it has a cylinder on which we wrap a recording paper on it. We wrap a recording paper on it. This cylinder is having a pen marking on it. अगर आप इस तरफ से देखें तो इसके ऊपर एक पेन लगा होता है. This pen movement is controlled by some element or some instruments which record that parameter. For example, this instrument which I am showing is thermograph. It is measuring the temperature at this location, and the temperature is affecting this bimetallic plate over here. Here is a curved plate which expands or which shrink based upon the change of temperature. When it expands or shrink, it changes the movement of the pen over here. And this pen has the ink in it, and that make a mark on this graph paper. So this graph paper gets the mark as temperature changes, and this cylinder is continuously rotating because of the spring arrangement inside it. It is continuously rotating, and about in a week time it completes one circle. So weekly graph we can obtain from such instruments. This instrument can be attached with the bimetallic plate which can measure the movement, which can measure the temperature. It can have a horsehair over here that can measure the humidity. We have instruments similar to this. We call them hygrograph. ये जो अभी मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ ये hygrograph है. This one is a hygrograph. Instead of that bimetallic tube plate, it has a hair attached to it. Horsehair is attached to it. Because of the change of the humidity, the length of this horsehair, tension in this horsehair, or the length of the horsehair changes. That change of the length of the horsehair is translated to the pen, and then pen mark on the graph, which is rotating continuously, and we get the humidity. So we call such an instrument as hygrograph, hygro, H-Y-G-R-O, hygrograph. Similarly, we have instrument, we call it क्या कहते हैं उसको, minimum temperature and maximum temperature. You have class after this? आपकी class है?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I can stop it over here, but just see these two instruments. This one is called minimum and maximum temperature thermometer. This one has two thermometer, but this is called wet bulb and dry bulb thermometer. Maybe we can discuss them later on in the next class. Thank you very much. If you have question, you are welcome. I can record your attendance now.
सर ये जो हमारी एटमॉस्फेयर में टेम्परेचर की वेरिएशन होती है, इसकी मेन रीजन क्या है? जिस तरह ट्रोपोस्फियर में अभी हमारा टेम्परेचर डिक्रीज हो रहा है, तो मेनली ये किस वजह से हो रहा है?
Mainly it is the radiations coming from sun and radiation emitted from the earth that is controlling the temperature. Earth is absorbing radiation from the sun, and when sun is not present at a certain place, it is present at the other side of the earth, then earth is radiating more and receiving less. So वो bodies जो close to earth हैं, because of the earth normal temperature of 20 degrees centigrade, they have the temperature similar to earth, 20 degree. And when we go beyond earth, so temperature of the space controls over there. Over there, there is not much mass which can radiate energy. Only sun is there. So the temperature is reducing at the upper layers. तो ये पूरा एक सोलर सिस्टम का एनर्जी बैलेंस है जो कि कायम है, जिसका नेट रिजल्ट रिडक्शन ऑफ द टेम्परेचर इन द ट्रोपोस्फेयर एज वी गो अबव द अर्थ है. और ये वेरी करता रहता है. इस तरह का जितना सिंपल हमने दिखाया है बिल्कुल इस तरह का नहीं है. इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन ओरोग्राफिक कंडीशन, इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द सर्कुलेशन ऑफ द विंड आल्सो.
Okay sir, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I stop it over here.